Did you know women represent just 3% of Fortune 500 CEOs and less than 15% of corporate executives at top companies worldwide? Have you wondered what the secrets are to getting into the top ranks, whether in the private or public sector? Do you want to figure out how to stop being held back in your career or passed over for promotion? Then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, President and CEO of the Executive Women's Success Institute. I have decades of experience in the military, the federal government, and corporate America, and my mission is to help women succeed and tap into their full potential. I want to reach 1 million plus women around the world to become the leaders they are meant to be. So if you want to move into a management or executive level position, or maybe you are a female veteran transitioning out of the military into business entrepreneurship, then reach out to the Executive Women's Success Institute at 301-693-3284. Let us get you on the fast track to success. Hello and welcome to the Successful Women Show, where you can view us on Pod TV. I am Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, your host, and my mission is to help women accelerate the path to success. Well, today's topic is BUYBACK movement, and my guest is Mrs. Roberta Holmes. Let me just give you a little bit of background on her. Mrs. Holmes and her husband, Chris, are the producers of Exposure Seattle TV and the Home Shopping Channel, the Home Shopping Club. They are also the founders of the Black Home Shopping Channel, streaming on Exposure Plus TV network. Mrs. Holmes and her husband are using their decades of entrepreneurship and the lessons learned from their business successes and failures to create a platform that provides support and mentorship in helping small business owners succeed. They have made it their mission to advocate, educate, and empower, especially those from underserved communities, focusing on creating generational wealth. I'd like to introduce my guest tonight, Mrs. Roberta Holmes.
Hello, thank you, Dr. Madeline.
Hi, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. I can't wait to hear about how you started and all, your story. But before I get started, I always give my viewers the standard bio on my guests. But then I like to ask my guests just to tell us what you want us to know about Roberta Holmes.
Well, thank you again, Dr. Madeline, for inviting me today. And I appreciate the nice bio. Um, First of all, I'd like to say that I'm a family person. I'm a wife. My husband and I have been together for 43 years, and we're high school sweethearts. We have 3 amazing children. We're also blessed to have 4 grandchildren, with the 5th one on the way. So that's very exciting for us. Another thing I also like to claim as part of my identity is being a granddaughter of Garveyites, and growing up in a household where your family is so dedicated to the Buy Black movement. Obviously, Garveyites really believe in trying to support and really educate our community in all ways, especially when it comes to economics. My grandmother and grandfather were actually founding members of the UNIA, which was a direct result of Marcus Garvey's movement here in the United States in the 20s. So again, I just grew up in a household where this was so important. My grandmother and my aunt also were members of CORE in the 60s. So my grandmother was directly responsible for having the first Black people hired by large organizations like Bank of America, Nordstrom, um, the, Macy's. You know, it wasn't called Macy's back then, but all of those organizations who refused to hire Black people back in the 60s, she was directly responsible for that. So I really grew up in a household where it was so important to support and empower our community. So my husband and I have really focused on keeping our dollars in our community since we were really young people. In our early 20s is when it started. And um, as entrepreneurs, again, very young, is just something that we've really been dedicated to and tried to um, instill in our children, which I'm happy to say has continued the succession of that as well.
Now, and hearing all of that, that also brings me to the question to ask you, just to tell us. I know you talked about your grandmother and all of that. But was that what inspired you and your husband to start the Black Home Shopping Channel? What was the thing that motivated you to start that particular venture?
Yeah. So we were not thinking about being in media. Okay, I want to start with that. That was the farthest thing from our minds. However, a friend of mine who actually was participating in a Buy Black event that I was hosting, because of COVID, it went virtual. And uh, she said, I've been in talking to this woman that she's just amazing. And I told her what it is that you do. And she was like, I need to talk to her, get us in touch. And that person that I was talking to, who I'd never heard of, her name was Tam Lawrence, who is the founder and CEO of Exposure Plus TV.
Mhm.
And our first conversation, I kid you not, lasted over 2 hours. We we were immediately had the same mindset. We had the same really devotion to our people. We really believe in legacy. Her her vision for the network was, it just spoke to me. And of course, after our conversation, I spoke to my husband Chris about it, and he was all in. To have the power of media behind you and use that platform to be able to provide opportunities for people that we know never would have them. Um, the television business is, I have learned, something that is so inaccessible for our community. And what Miss Lawrence has done is really create an opportunity where people can use media to not only tell their stories, but to also help build their businesses and to be able to use media to really educate and empower. And that is what drew us to this network. And then ultimately, what we did is took what we were doing in our local community and be able to expand that through television. And that is the power of TV. It allows you to take your reach and really expand it, um, by a hundredfold, really, and thousandfold, now because of where we're now reaching in 128 countries, and our reach can get to folks through not only their smartphones but also their mobile devices, and that reaches about 420 million subscribers and viewers. So it's an amazing opportunity, and the reason we started the network is because that's what we were doing here in our hometown. So what we did is just expand it with the power of media and television.
Mhm. And you talk about the media industry, and I was gonna ask you that question: why the media industry? But you kind of pointed out some things about saying that it gives you a larger reach. But you also started off saying that you didn't have any idea of going into that industry in the
Yeah.
beginning. So was it something that you saw, or you just decided, okay, this would be a better place to be to do what we want to do? Is that kind of how you, why you started with the media industry rather than, you know, doing a publishing a magazine or something like that? You know, I mean, it's, you know, that's why I wonder what, why the media? I mean, I know
Right.
it gives you a large reach, but was there one particular thing that made you say, I think that's the place we need to be?
Right. Well, and this is why Exposure Plus TV really was unique, because this we are powered by a published PR firm. Art and Kingsley is the power source behind Exposure Plus TV, but it's also behind Exposure Magazine, which is actually the cornerstone of the television network. Exposure Plus, or excuse me, Exposure Magazine is about to celebrate its 10th anniversary. So this is not something that has happened overnight by any means. Miss Lawrence has used the magazine as the cornerstone for the television network, another magazine called Keynote, which also is a platform for speakers and folks who are more in the corporate end of things. And
Mhm.
then we also have a podcast community. So we're a hybrid content distribution network. We're on TV, magazine, in print, and digital, and then also the podcast community. So the Black Home Shopping Channel and the Home Shopping Club has those additional outreaches as well. So we can, anything we do, we can also duplicate that through print with our magazines.
Mm.
Anything we do, we could duplicate by also having it on our podcast, having situations and people and different entrepreneurs on our to be interviewed with our podcast community. So there are lots of opportunities to be able to expand the reach beyond television. The reason television is so powerful, especially for folks who want to promote their products, services, entrepreneurs, is because you have the opportunity to not only show people what you're about personally, because people buy from people they like and know.
Mhm.
You also have the opportunity to explain how their product or service will benefit people, because folks want to know, how is it going to improve their lives? What is it about your product or service that is going to make my life easier or better or save me money or whatever the case may be? So that is exactly why this is such a powerful medium, because you are able to do that.
Mhm. Wow. So, what type of products do you showcase on your channel?
Yeah, we showcase health and wellness, a lot of fashion, jewelry, beauty products. Um, Again, we also showcase entrepreneurs. So that means if you have a service that you want to promote, we allow you to do that too.
Mhm.
If you are a book author, you can also talk about your book. If you are anyone who is in business and you want to explain what it is that you do to the consumer directly, you could do it here on our network. And the other benefit that we have is, unlike a QVC or HSN, you don't have to have thousands or tens of thousands of dollars in inventory. You don't have to have tens of thousands of units to be able to even be considered. We allow the entrepreneurs who either cannot afford or do not have inventory to be able to still sell their products on our network. All we ask is that you are straightforward about the number of units that you have, and also how long it will take to send out any products to the consumer. But
Mhm.
we welcome any and all entrepreneurs, whether they are service or product based. So all of those work for us.
Now, I also read that you also do, and I'm not sure if you still do, you also had were, I think you and your husband were producers for Seattle TV. Are you still
Seattle
doing?
exposure. Yeah, no, we have a platform here in Seattle, and what that means is people here on the West Coast have
Mhm,
the opportunity to come into the studio and be able to create their infomercials and talk about their products and services.
mhm,
They could come to the studio and we could interview them, so they have an opportunity to talk about their product or service. So yes, we have a hub here in the Seattle area, but we
mhm,
also have our main studio at our headquarters in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So people have the option to go to either studio to get anything done, whether that's a product or service infomercial, a sizzle reel, a commercial. We have the ability to do all of that here in both studios.
mhm. So le- for people in business, is how important do you think that being in the media or being a part of it in some way, do you think that is helps them to expand, or can it be a great help for them expanding their business? Because, for example, a lot of people, when it comes to videos and different things like that, they don't, have videos to promote their company or do, just to kind of showcase what they're doing or what have you. So, how important do you think it is to have that exposure, that media exposure, to be able to do these things or even have these things, so that when you show up somewhere, you have that product to be able to put out there?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And that is the education part that we really want to get out there. People need to understand that media is not something that is far off and you can't get to it. Um, that is the beauty of what we have built here at Exposure Plus TV. We have made the access to media affordable for people. You could come in, shoot a sizzle reel, we call them. I didn't know what that was when I started, okay? But you could
Yeah.
shoot a 2 to 3 minute sizzle reel about your product or service, talk about you and your story and why you do what you do and what the benefits are and all of that. And you could do that with just a little bit of coaching from our production team, a lot of practice, because I promise you, when you get in front of a camera for the first time, it is not the same as you talking about it with somebody. You might have told your story and know what you want to say 1,000 times, but something about that camera that really gets you a little bit nervous. But
Mhm.
with practice and guidance and coming into a studio with professionals who can also help and guide you through the process, you could come in and you could create just what you're talking about, that sizzle reel, that infomercial, just that little boost to let people know who you are. It gives you that polish, and you could do that for less than $1,000.
Mhm.
So it is an investment that people can make. They could use that on social media. They could use that on television because this is TV quality product. You could use it, as part of a event. There are just so many ways that you could use just that little piece of media, and it really can make a difference for people who are starting a business and want to build it, or people who want to just expand their reach. So we have really made it turnkey. So people, all they have to do is reach out to us. We give them some pre-production instructions. They can come into the studio again, and either in Seattle or Milwaukee, and they could get that done in less than an hour if they're well prepared.
Mhm. Mhm. Now you talk about the studio, coming into the studio and doing these types of things, making the videos and all of that. What about the people that do theirs on their phone and
Hmm.
shoot the video on the phone? Do you think that that's a good practice, or especially when you're trying to represent your business. What's your opinion on that? Or do you think that they can make professional videos using their phones?
Absolutely. It's all about the quality of the phone, and the phones they make today, you can absolutely do this. You have to have good lighting, and you also have to have good quality video. If you could do that, then you're good to go. You could do that. Now, that being said, not everyone has the right equipment. And for those who do not have the right equipment, um, you know, we can provide guidance around that as well.
Mhm.
Um, we have a home studio, so we've done a lot of our work right from our home. I mean, I'm talking to you from our home right now.
Mhm.
Again, it's an investment. People can do it, but it's not like, oh, let me take my cell phone and go out here and do something. You do have to have the proper professional grade equipment, and you could absolutely get it done. So there is nothing at all wrong with that. And
Right.
if it's the right quality equipment, you'd be surprised. A lot of it does look like something that someone shot in the studio.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Well, this is some great nuggets that we're getting here, especially for those that are in business and those that are looking at doing promo videos for their business, their company, their products, their services. I hope you're taking notes because we're getting some great nuggets here. What I'd like to do now is take a break and show some of our commercials. Take a commercial break, and then we'll come back and get some more words of wisdom.
The Great Resignation has created a small business boom. 2021 saw about 5 million business startups, and the majority were women and minority owned. Low pay, little to no opportunity for advancement, and feeling disrespected are a few of the top reasons we have seen this migration. Ultimately, it's about creating wealth, generational wealth. My name is Roberta Holmes.
And I am Chris Holmes. We have been entrepreneurs for over 30 years, and our mission is to advocate, educate, and empower fellow entrepreneurs, especially from underserved communities. We know from experiences the challenges that small business owners face, and access to capital is always at the top of the list. And what directly affects the money is sales. And what drives sales is exposure.
Without exposure, you are invisible.
HSC, the Home Shopping Club on Exposure Plus TV, is the ultimate e-streaming platform for entrepreneurs. Did you know that 99.9% of all businesses in the U.S. are small businesses? HSC provides the opportunity to get your brand in front of 440 million consumers in over 128 countries. Retail streaming is becoming the choice for shoppers. Research shows nearly 1/3 of Americans tuned in to shop via streaming last year, and almost half of them made a purchase.
Yes, and the CEO of Trip.com made $8.4 million selling travel packages through 5 streaming sessions. Just one example of what exposure can do. Our amazing platform can be seen on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, and Android TV. Just download the app. And you can also download the app from any iOS or Android device. Producing the Home Shopping Club is personal for us. Being your own boss gives you the freedom to pursue your dreams. For us, that meant always being present for our 3 amazing children. We were able to attend every parent-teacher conference, every play, every family event, field trip.
Every concert, every game, every graduation, every grandchild's birth, we were there for everything. We understand why people are starting their own business in record numbers and what is needed to succeed. HSC is uniquely advantageous for small businesses, providing maximum exposure for your brand on TV. Our magazines and podcast communities, it's a collaboration. We advocate, educate, and empower our members. Your success is our success. I am Chris Holmes.
And I'm Roberta Holmes. We are the producers of the Home Shopping Club on Exposure Plus TV. Let's build and prosper together. Join the club.
Hi, I'm Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, host of the Successful Women Show, which airs every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our mission is to help women accelerate the path to success. Women in the workplace, women in business, and women who aspire to become business owners, live their dreams, and reach their goals. So join us Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome back to the Successful Women Show. You're listening to my guest, Mrs. Roberta Holmes. She's the producer of the Exposure Plus TV. And she's been giving us some great nuggets, especially business owners that have products and services, and some of the things that you can do to make sure that you promote your business, and how to do it professionally. And I hope, again, that you've been taking great notes, because she has definitely been giving you some great words of wisdom. So tell us, why did you decide to mainly, provide this service to Black businesses? And, there are a lot of businesses out there, a lot of products, a lot of services. Why specifically Black businesses?
Yeah, it's really in my DNA. It is so important for us to be able to support each other, and this is how we keep dollars in our community. I learned really in my 20s that, unfortunately, the average dollar circulates less than 6 hours out of a month in the Black community. When you think about all the other communities that support each other, the Jewish community, the Asian community, the Hispanic community, they spend their dollars with their own. And I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe it may have changed. On average, the Asian community keeps their dollars circulating within their community 28 days out of 30. So that tells you everything you need to know. Black folks have over $10 billion of buying power every single year. And even if we spent half of that in our community, we would be able to change everything. We'd be able to really have the kind of thriving communities that we have seen in the past. I mean, Tulsa's a perfect example. Tulsa was a community before that massacre that was self-sufficient. They supported each other. People thrived. Can you imagine what those families would be looking like today if that tragedy did not happen, that crime really did not happen? And it's so important for us to be able to truly support each other. And that means taking that extra effort to figure out, hey, can I get my dry cleaning done at a local Black owned. Take an extra moment to figure out to buy my home from
Mhm.
a local bank. Maybe it's not local, but can I use one of the banks that are nationwide that are Black owned? I mean, we have to start thinking about these things. And that is why my husband and I have been so passionate about doing this work, because we want to make sure that organizations understand you have to support Black owned businesses. Unfortunately, we're not doing it the way that we should. But if we could just keep, beating the drum on this and letting people know, hey, you could find a Black owned business that does exactly what you want. You just have to take a moment and try to find that business and support them.
Absolutely. And you mentioned when you talked about the Asian community, I thought, I had to chuckle a little bit on that because I remember when I was doing business ventures, I had little different things going on. I had the snack machines and the, soda machines, and I had the video machines, and I would put them in different places, bringing in income. And I remember going to the Asian places, some of them like the restaurants, to put in a video machine in there, and of course to negotiate with them on the percentage they would get, and then what I would get. And I remember going to this one, and they wanted me to fix the machine so that whenever their kids use the video machine, they wanted to mark the money, the coins, so that when I came back to collect the money, all the monies that was marked, that they have marked, then of course that would go back to them. Well, that didn't make sense to me, because if I did that, that meant that their kids would stay on the machines all the time and no one else would really play. So
Where's
where
the benefit?
yeah, what's the benefit to me
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. Business is win-win. That means
Yeah, it,
everybody benefits.
you know does not make sense to me. So of course, I decided not to put a machine there, because
Right.
like you said, that would have been a waste of my time to even have a machine in that facility. So when you say that they definitely recirculate their money, that is so very true. And I learned that when I had my machines and negotiating with some of them to put a machine in their facility, how how hard it was. I came to a point where it was like, okay, I'm just not going to even go going to them to try to negotiate about putting a machine in their facility, because it was just too difficult to negotiate with them as far as percentage wise. Where, like you said, it would be a benefit, to my benefit, to even have the machine in the facility. So
Exactly.
it's
And
so.
and there's nothing wrong with that. They have it right.
Mhm.
We have to change
Learn
our
that
attitude.
structure, yeah, to do the same thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And Exposure Plus TV, we we really believe that it's on us. One of our we're proud to be have many great mentors, but Miss Florence has had the opportunity to form a partnership with HBO.
Mhm.
And through that partnership, she has gained mentorship. She's been able to really get the type of true partnership that wants to see us be successful. And in that partnership, and this is, we're not controlled by them or anything like that, but through that mentorship, she was able to also negotiate an opportunity to have a channel on Exposure Plus TV. You will see an HBO label, and you'll see a channel called HBO on Us.
Mhm.
And the reason she named it that is because she understands that Black folks, it's on us now. We have the means, we have the education, we have enough people with money, we have everything that's needed to be able to lift our community up, start to really educate those who honestly do not know or don't have access,
Mhm.
and to build the kind of community that we know we're capable of doing. And that is on us. So for us to be able to take advantage of that and to use media to really tell our stories, to promote our businesses, to be able to really take media and use it to our advantage, it is remarkable, quite frankly. And that's why we're so proud to be a part of it, because we know we are really changing the way people view Black people around the world. Like I said, we're in 128 countries. We are formulating a channel that is truly changing the way that people can see us, how we tell our stories. It's really amazing to be a part of that. And um, part of what we do as well with our partnership, we have a whole channel that is devoted to supporting and telling the stories from the motherland, from Africa. We have an Exposure Africa channel that we're developing right now, and it's just been so amazing to be able to say that we are really making our mark and making a difference in Black media, because there's not a lot of places where we actually 100% control all of the content, all of the distribution. And it's not only done through television, but through print and through our podcast community as well. So this is really a unique opportunity for us to be able to take advantage of that. If you're in business of any kind, or even if you just want to support and find content that is clean and something you put your kids in front of the television and not have to worry about foul language and all those other things. That's what we have here. And people are able to access that through their smart TVs or through their mobile phones.
Mhm. Mhm. So, if you had advice you could offer to anyone looking to use media to expand their business,
Mhm.
what would you tell them?
I would tell them, first of all, to understand that it is accessible. It is something that you absolutely can take advantage of. And also, if you have a story to tell, and all of us do, and you want to create the opportunity to tell your story through your own words, you can do that.
Mhm.
You could do that, I know, through a lot of different platforms, but I don't want to suggest that we're the only game in town. But I will tell you, we are the only place where you could come in, create your content, have professionals do it for you, and also distribute that content on television, through our magazines, and through a podcast community, and do all of that at a very affordable rate. As I mentioned, you could do all of this for is under $1,000, and in some cases less than that. It just depends on what you want to do. And anyone who is in business should have a sizzle reel. They should have a commercial.
Yeah.
They should have something that they could use on their social media. Again, if they want to run commercials through events or wherever, they should have something professionally done to show that they should be taken seriously. Because when you're doing business these days, people, it's all about, the presentation, right? So if
Absolutely.
you don't have a presentation that is polished, then most likely people are not going to consider you a true professional.
Now, is there? I know there's a process that you all go through to get the products on your network. I mean, do they have to, um, you know, submit the product, submit,
Mhm,
let you know what the service is, or
mhm.
kind of. come before you and do sort of like a Shark Tank and say, "Hey, this is what we do," and
Yep.
and y'all you have a panel sitting there saying, "Okay, yeah, we'll take you."
Yeah, yeah, we do have a little bit of that actually.
Oh, okay,
The first process is to submit your product. If you
mhm,
have a service, then we basically have an interview. We set up an interview and we talk to you, and you tell us what is it about your service that should be accessible to our viewers, because we have millions of them, that they would say, hey, this is something that's of benefit, and I would be interested in it. Same thing with the product. You
mhm,
submit the product, we do a product review, we do an interview, and then we determine whether or not it is something that is going to be beneficial to our viewers. Um, you know, it is not, we don't accept every product, we don't accept every person who provides a service. But those that do make it through the cut, we feel that they are truly beneficial for our viewers. And that's what it comes down to. Is it a benefit to the people who are watching Exposure Plus TV and the Black Home Shopping Channel or the Home Shopping Club?
mhm.
And are the people who are behind those products or services, are they people of integrity? And that's what we're looking for as well.
Now I know that you have something coming up this month. I think is the MBE Day. Is that Minority Business Enterprise? Is that what the MBE?
Exactly. Yes. Thank you for asking. So, the Exposure Plus TV is actually one of the media partners for the Minority Business Development Agency, which is part of the U.S. Department of Commerce.
Mhm,
And Buy MBE Day is actually on September 24th, which is the day that where we are hoping that people will take the extra effort to support any minority owned business. And of course, we choose to focus on Black owned businesses here. But all minority owned businesses, the Department of Commerce and this agency is really trying to get the word out to support these businesses on the 24th.
mhm,
And we are also using Med Week, they call it, it to showcase how media can help businesses get the word out.
mhm.
So we are amplifying the day, the event, the entire week. Our founder and CEO, Miss Lawrence, and some of our other producers are going to be in Washington, D.C. next week to help with all of this as well. So we are really wanting to push and promote businesses of all kinds, minority businesses of all kinds. But like I said, here, my husband and I, we have a special focus on Black owned businesses specifically.
Wow. So I know that you talked about you gave advice on if they were looking to use the media to expand their business. But if you had to leave our viewers with just one piece of advice overall, what would that advice be?
That advice would be to be true to yourself, tell your story, you know, have integrity, you know, let people understand and know the why behind what it is that you do.
Mhm.
People buy from people that they know and like.
Right.
And if you have a product or service that you truly believe in, um, then you should let as many people know about it as possible, and use whatever resources you have to be able to get the word out to people. Um, we know that, especially since COVID, um, there have been millions, I want to say over 6 million brand new businesses started after COVID.
Mhm.
People understand and have taken stock as to what's going on with their lives. And um, people understand that there is true opportunity in entrepreneurship. It is not easy by any means. My husband and I have made many mistakes, and I'm sure we would be way far ahead of where we are today if we would have known things that we didn't know when we were younger. But our goal is to be able to educate and empower our viewers and especially those that are entrepreneurs, to just give them resources and tools to help them to build their brands and build their businesses at whatever level it is, whether they just want to start a small business to, get a few extra dollars to support their family, or if they want to be able to quit their job and build something that is a true revenue source, or if they're already in business and want to expand it to a true business enterprise. All of that we are here to support, and we really do encourage entrepreneurs to never give up. If you believe in what you're doing, stick with it, continue to move forward, and just know that there are resources out there to support you. And here at Exposure Plus TV, we really believe in entrepreneurship, and we put out the programming and have the type of support through all of our resources, whether that's in TV, print, or through our podcast community that can help support that effort as well.
So if someone wanted to reach out to you in our viewing audience, if they wanted to reach out to you, how can they reach you? What's the best way to contact you?
The best way to contact us is through our website, which is bhsn.tv. So it stands for the Black Home Shopping Club.tv. Also on exposureplustv.tv, there is a way to reach us there as well. And I encourage everyone to download the app. It is free to download. We have over 12,000 movies. So we're not just about business there. We have entertainment of all sorts. We have all kinds of programming for the family. And we would love it if you would also download the app and support that as well. And also by phone, which is 877-797-3288. If you want to just place a phone call, you can reach us that way as well.
Well, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to have you on the show. To my viewers, you've been listening to Mrs. Roberta Holmes. Her and her husband, Chris, are the producers of Exposure Plus TV. And of course, they are advocates of Black businesses, showcasing your business, your products, your services. So if you want to reach out to her to find out more about it, even maybe to get a promo video done to look into that, what you need to do, then her information, of course, is running across the screen. But she will be glad to, let you know some of the things that you may need to do to get that done. Again, you've been listening to the Success for Women show, and I want to just give you a few announcements before we start to close the show. I'd like you to join me September 19th through the 25th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Black Business Olympics. Of course, the Black Business Olympics will also showcase Black businesses, Black business owners, thought leaders, and corporations for 24 hours, 7 days straight during that week. And the Black Business Olympics serves as a fundraiser for students to obtain scholarships and laptops for schools. So if you know a student who would like to apply for the scholarship, they can go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. That's www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. And again, it starts this coming Monday, and it will be the entire week, the 19th through the 25th. And oh, yes, did I mention I will be speaking on that Thursday, September 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'd also like to make sure to mention to you to view my TEDx talk that I did in Vancouver, Canada. And the topic, of course, was Show Up to Rise Up. And to watch my TEDx talk, make sure you go to YouTube. You can put in my name in the search box, Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, or you can email me at info@exwsi.com, and I'll send you the direct link. I am excited, so excited, because the talk is now at 6,303 views. So again, I'm pushing it out there to get to 1 million plus. As I said, I want to reach 1 million plus women to help them to accelerate their path to success. Also, remember that I'm a contributing writer to Own It magazine. So I will be sharing nuggets and resources every month. Own It magazine is a resource for personal, professional, and business development. So make sure if you want to get a subscription for an annual subscription, you can go to my website in www.exwsi.com to get a subscription to the magazine. If you want to just view some of the articles or what have you, you will also be able to do that. Again, you've been listening to the Successful Women Show. I'm your host, Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can email me at info@exwsi.com or go to my website, www.exwsi.com. And while you're there, make sure you download my free 3-part video series on 3 things every woman should do to position herself for executive leadership. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel, that you like this episode, and that you definitely share this episode because we've had some great nuggets. You can also, again, reach me on all the social media sites. And don't forget, again, that we are here every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the Successful Women Show. I'm your host, Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, helping women to accelerate the path to success. Again, thank you to my guest, Mrs. Roberta Holmes, for joining us tonight. Thank you to my viewers and my listeners. And as always, I love you to life, and be well and stay safe out there.
The Great Resignation has created a small business boom. 2021 saw about 5 million business startups, and the majority were women and minority owned. Low pay, little to no opportunity for advancement, and feeling disrespected are a few of the top reasons we have seen this migration. Ultimately, it's about creating wealth, generational wealth. My name is Roberta Holmes.
And I am Chris Holmes. We have been entrepreneurs for over 30 years, and our mission is to advocate, educate, and empower fellow entrepreneurs, especially from underserved communities. We know from experiences the challenges that small business owners face, and access to capital is always at the top of the list. And what directly affects the money is sales. And what drives sales is exposure.
Without exposure, you are invisible.
HSC, the Home Shopping Club on Exposure Plus TV, is the ultimate e-streaming platform for entrepreneurs. Did you know that 99.9% of all businesses in the U.S. are small businesses? HSC provides the opportunity to get your brand in front of 440 million consumers in over 128 countries. Retail streaming is becoming the choice for shoppers. Research shows nearly 1/3 of Americans tuned in to shop via streaming last year, and almost half of them made a purchase.
Yes, and the CEO of Trip.com made $8.4 million selling travel packages through 5 streaming sessions. Just one example of what exposure can do. Our amazing platform can be seen on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, and Android TV. Just download the app. And you can also download the app from any iOS or Android device. Producing the Home Shopping Club is personal for us. Being your own boss gives you the freedom to pursue your dreams. For us, that meant always being present for our 3 amazing children. We were able to attend every parent-teacher conference, every play, every family event, field trip.
Every concert, every game, every graduation, every grandchild's birth, we were there for everything. We understand why people are starting their own business in record numbers and what is needed to succeed. HSC is uniquely advantageous for small businesses, providing maximum exposure for your brand on TV, our magazines, and podcast communities. It's a collaboration. We advocate, educate, and empower our members. Your success is our success. I am Chris Holmes.
And I'm Roberta Holmes. We are the producers of the Home Shopping Club on Exposure Plus TV. Let's build and prosper together. Join the club.
Hi, I'm Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, host of the Successful Women Show, which airs every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our mission is to help women accelerate the path to success. Women in the workplace, women in business, and women who aspire to become business owners, live their dreams, and reach their goals. So join us Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.